Hi boys and girls, and thank you for joining me for our second science experiment today. Now, before we start, I would just like to say a big thank you to everybody that joined in last week's science experiment. There was lots of great work uploaded in Teams. It was great to see everybody chopping their apple and finding out the results, so well done, thank you for that. Today we're going to move on to a different experiment, and like I said last week, every good science experiment starts with a question. We want to ask a question and then we're going to try and work out that answer. Now, earlier on in the week your teacher would have uploaded your resources that you'll need, and I've got mine here, hope you've got yours too. And today in your Teams you would have got a worksheet to go along with today's experiment. If you manage to print it off, that's super. If not, just write it up in your jotter using the same layout that I used. Okay. Now, at the top in the box, there is a lot of really tricky words today. Please don't worry about them because I'll use them throughout the lesson and I'll explain what each one is as we go along. Okay. Now for question 2 is slightly different from last week. It asks what am I going to do? And what I would like you to do this week is in that part, show me a step-by-step instruction. Now you can either use words or if you prefer to draw little diagrams, I'd be happy with that as well. This experiment today, we're going to see something quite quickly, but then we're going to have to leave the experiment for a few days to get the end result. Okay. Now, all science experiments are different. Sometimes we have an instant reaction. Sometimes scientists work on things for days, weeks, or years. So this will take a couple of days. Today's Friday, so you can tap in and out of it over the weekend. So in your boxes for question 2, then you can write your step-by-step or draw your step-by-step instructions. So you will have to go back and referring to that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour my vinegar into a jar, and I need a lid on that jar. So make sure that you have a lid, or like last week we used a coaster on top of a glass, you can use that. I've got one that's a closed lid, so that's quite a good one to use. But if not, improvise, use something quite heavy so that no air can get in. Now our vinegar is an acetic acid. Okay, that's what a vinegar is. It's an acetic acid, and we're going to put it onto this egg. And you're going to see a chemical reaction here, boys and girls, if you look very closely. And a chemical reaction is when two chemicals get together and you see something happening, a reaction. So I'm going to use my vinegar and I'm going to pour it in. And remember, vinegar is an acetic acid. And make sure you pour the vinegar all over the egg. Okay, so here we go. And it's stinking, so be prepared. Your mums and dads won't be happy. Okay, now make sure that you cover, so you will need quite a bit of vinegar. And I'm going to close it over and seal it. Now, right now, straight away, you'll see little bubbles forming. So get close. You might not see it on camera, but you'll certainly see it on yours. Little bubbles forming all around the egg. And the reason why these little bubbles are forming all around your egg is because an egg produces carbon dioxide, which is another chemical. And carbon dioxide mixed with the acetic acid is starting a chemical reaction. So straight away we can see something happening. Okay? Hope you can see all the little bubbles starting to work. Now, as I said, this experiment is going to take a few days, and that's why we're going to have to make our hypothesis just now to see if you think we will eventually get the shell off the egg. So before we do anything else, I want you to pause this video, I want you to take a few seconds, and I want you to write up your hypothesis. Do you think, number 1, we'll get the shell off the egg? And if you do think that we'll get it off, how long do you think it will take? Make your hypothesis. Well done, everybody. Now that we've made our hypothesis, we are going to continue our investigation. And you'll see on your sheet that you have a little grid. And on the grid, we're going to keep checking in and out of our experiment. And we're going to record our results, what we see after 5 minutes. All right, now you'll probably, if you're looking at it, you'll still see the bubbles all coming round. Leave it for 5 minutes and you can continue writing up your experiment. Then again, you're going to see this, you're going to go back to it and see what's changed after 1 hour. Then after 2 hours. Then you're going to go back and maybe leave it overnight, up to 12 hours before you go back and check on it. And record your results each time, either draw them or write them, so that when you go back or you want to share this experiment with other scientists, then you can see clearly your steps of what happened. Now, our ultimate goal is to see the inside of the egg, and that is what we call the inner membrane of an egg, and that is just the yolk part. Now, I did this experiment earlier on in the week, and I would like to show you what I got. And I'm not going to tell you how long it took me to get to this. So if in your hypothesis you said yes, you think we can get the shell off the egg, then you were right.